Yadah Yahuah family, let's say He has made me glad and rejoice. And to those of you who are new to the page, you may not be used to this format of video. I often do, on my last page during the summertime, springtime, I did a lot of whiteboard videos, so I'm going to try to bring that back whenever I can. And so today you're hearing a lot about the government shutdown, you're hearing a lot about the collapse of all things, and I'm going to show you what the Most High gave me prophetically on how that's supposed to all play out. So the first phase, which is where we're at now, disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes only. Shout out to Aaron the quota she on TikTok for drawing all this out for me, because your boy does not write this well. Only my wife and he does. They can write this well. Also, shout out to the company All Praises for this shirt here. You know, you got the Statue of Liberty and then us leaving Babylon symbolically. So shout out to them, and shout out to Aaron the quota she for getting this for me as a gift. You know, it says in the Bible, there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother. In Proverbs 27 verse 17, that iron sharpens iron, so a brother sharpens the countenance of his brother or a friend. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first phase of everything that you're seeing right now is the National Guard. This is basically under the subtitle of federal agents dealing with the local crime. So that the National Guard is coming in the guise and in the way because they are now dealing with local crime, right? The parallels. Now notice how the places that are affected by this are always going to be your bigger cities. Kind of like with Los Angeles and New York City are very affected by this, just in the same way that in 2020, when the lockdowns began to start happening, the first place that were affected were Los Angeles and New York City, and then they were the blueprints for what happened everywhere else. And so what's going to begin to happen is that this is an undeclared version of martial law. And because of this is just getting the people set up. This isn't the actual collapse. This is just getting the public's mind prepped for it. Then what's going to happen is at some point, whether there's going to be a domino effect. This is going to bring us into phase 2. Now, I don't know what's going to start the dominoes, but all these events here, the dollar collapse, World War III, the Civil War, the EMP, famine, pestilence, these events are going to happen, but one of these is going to start the domino effect that's going to lead to the others, and which one that is, I don't know. That hasn't been revealed to me. And so once that happens, that's when you're going to get the actual full-blown societal collapse. That's when you're going to get rioting, not only in Los Angeles, California, but you're going to get it in the little towns of West Virginia. There's going to be a nationwide collapse, and these events are going to domino effect in a certain order. Now, with that being said, okay, let's go ahead and talk about it. So that is when most likely what's going to happen is, no matter what, this is going to, the scarcity on earth, right? That is what all this is going to attribute to the third seal, which is scarcity on earth. The second seal being war, and the third seal being scarcity on earth. And again, remember, believers, that the second seal of Revelation is not going to be broadcasted on the news as, okay, guys, the second seal of Revelation is open, the United States has declared war on Russia, or vice versa, Russia declares war on the United States. No, it's going to look like, it's not going to look like, hey guys, the second seal's open. It's going to be like, hey, the United States has declared war, Congress declares whatever. Okay, so you get what I'm saying. So with that being said, at some point, this is where you're going to see that collapse. And at that time, the greatest issue many of us will face is the relentless onslaught of family and friends that want to come along or try to understand, but it's going to be hard, but too late. Don't leave anyone behind if the Father told you to stay initially before the Exodus, like stay in place, like the Israelites did the first time when the plagues were passing over Egypt. They had the blood of the lentils on the doorpost. We have to have the blood of Yahusha on the doorpost for our heart to be marked for safety this time, right? And so with that being said, don't leave anyone behind if the Father tells you to stay initially, but don't waste time on people who didn't prepare. It's on them. And so now that we have the understanding, that's when you're going to have, the world's going to be in full collapse mode, and that's why you're hearing the so-called Insurrection Act, the so-called martial law being thrown around. You understand what I'm saying? That is when you're going to see all that. Again, I don't know if the domino effect is going to, where it's going to start, but I know that it will happen, and the events are going to fall in place. This is why the Bible says in 1 Peter 4:7 to be watchful and serious in your prayers, because we are at the end of all things, right? And so 1 Peter 1 verse 13 says to be sober-minded, be vigilant, to be sober-minded. All right. 1 Peter 5:8-9, beware, basically, because your devil walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. But most people don't read verse 9. Resist him steadfast in the faith, knowing that your same sufferings are experienced by your brotherhood in the world. So it's not just you. We're all going through this. Now, what's going to end up happening is, once the economy is going to be the big driver that changes the world order, because in order to have a new world, you have to destroy the old world, the ideas of the old world, and a leader associated with that old world order. All right. This is why the idea of democracy, the narrative is now that the idea of democracy is under attack. You understand? Or you get where I'm coming from? right? The idea of democracy is under attack, okay? And so it says in the Bible that in Jeremiah, the book of Jeremiah 50, that the mystery of Babylon will be the whole hammer of the earth. So not only does a hammer assemble all these things like it has its whiteboard possibly, right? But also a hammer is meant to shatter. It shatters and breaks everything into pieces. So the United States will be used as the hammer to break the whole world. So this is why you're seeing the idea of America and the idea of America being attacked in the media presence everywhere, because they are getting ready to leave the current world order. America is the sacrifice of the new world order. If you understand what I'm saying, again, this is all for speculation, entertainment purposes only. None of this is meant to be taken literally. Anyways, all right. So phase 3 is when the United Nations comes into play. Well, why is Agent Orange acting so different? Why is he so different between this first and the second term? The left and right wing of politics are a part of the same ego people. It doesn't matter if it's Obama, the first black president coming to save the world during a recession and running off of hope and change like he did, or if it's Agent Orange, the businessman, because the world doesn't need a politician to save the economy. It needs a businessman, and we see how well that's going, right? And so, with that being said, the worldwide collapse is going to prompt a worldwide solution from the United Nations. This is why there's such a void in leadership in the world. Agent Orange is creating a void in leadership in the world so that the Antichrist can rise through the United Nations. He's creating a world of instability. There's already calls for a world leader to emerge, for someone to come and solve the problem. They're doing this on purpose. They're all playing a role. The left and right wing of politics are part of the same bird. It doesn't matter, again, if it's Obama the black man or if it's Agent Orange the businessman. They're all actors, and the world is a stage, in the words of Shakespeare. Praise Yahuah. And so this is when you're going to get your World War III, or not your World War III. This is when you're going to get your world collapse, and that's when you're going to have the United Nations putting actual boots on the ground to support the militaries of the world. And that's when you're going to have, possibly soon after that, the Antichrist rise up and basically take control of this military force. Okay, and again, this is all speculation. But with that being said, shout out to all praises. But soon after that, the second Exodus comes. This is why the Bible says in Exodus 19 verse 4 that the Most High himself describes the sign of the Exodus as an eagle. Revelation 12 verse 14 says that we were given as eagle's wings and we went into the wilderness, right? So you have to keep your expectation that the Bible says in 2 Ezra chapter 13 verse 29 to 31 that at the time when the Most High God begins to deliver his people on earth, verse 30, at that time everyone will be close to panic. What's the deliverance? The deliverance of the Exodus. Verse 30, why are they panicked? They're panicked. Why are they panicked? They're panicked because Revelation 12:12, the devil knows his time is short. And because he knows his time is short, right, he has to move Bible prophecy at what? Warp speed, Operation Warp Speed. What was 2020 about? What was the operation of the solution called? It was called Warp Speed. Go look it up. Don't just trust what I'm saying. I'm a man. I can mislead you. I hope I never do, but I can, right? Warp Speed. This is why he was allowed to bring Bible prophecy at warp speed, right? Because although Agent Orange revealed the heart of the nation, the Most High's people hears when he cries, right? So now we're getting to a place where the Most High is getting ready to deliver us, and they know that, and so they're beginning to panic. They're freaking out. Now, verse 31 says they'll begin to make war against one another, city against city, region against region. That is civil war, which is what you're seeing here, right? The preparations for a civil war, all right? Now, it says nation versus nation. Nation versus nation is not America versus China. Biblically speaking, nations are people. Nations are people. So that is talking about a race war, which I'm not advocating for. I'm not advocating for the Christians or Hebrew Israelites or any of these other crazy groups of people. But what I am advocating for is the fulfillment of Bible prophecy. And the only question that remains is what side of it we choose to be on. Joshua 24:15 says, choose whom this day you will serve. Right? Is it going to be Yahuah, or is it going to be the God of the Amorites? Is it going to be yourself, your career? What is it? But anyways, you need to decide that today and not tomorrow, because there are many promises that are made in the Bible, but tomorrow is certainly not one of them. Don't wait until New Year's. There may not be a New Year's. All right. So with that being said, I hope there's a New Year's for all of you, but I'm just telling you the reality of the world, of what's happening right now. And so with that being said, kingdom versus kingdom is the final part of that verse. Kingdom versus kingdom is world war. Right? And that's when you're going to begin to see all of this right here. And then after that comes the world solution. So with that being said, just know that I hope this is a good breakdown for you guys. If you have any more questions, comments, or concerns, I'll try to respond as quickly as I can. Continue to pray for me, my safety, and this ministry, because it takes a lot of courage and a lot of endurance to come out here and to do this every single day. So please continue to pray for me and intercede for me to Psalm 91 verse 14 through 15. Protect me, or because I have known his name, and pray that, we are not only just me, but we're all delivered, and safely, so that pray to see the promise. Shalom, family.